Yeah.
Nice is there, but I should. You think about it, but, get that time. I'm thinking. I don't. I mean, it doesn't. Just like something does need.
Yes. Yeah.
No longer. This guy. Yeah. All right.
Are we good to start?
You're good, we're live.
Yes.
Yeah, if we could close the doors, I think we're picking up other voices. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting. We're a little bit late getting started today, but we're short the agenda so everybody can get to their appropriate appointments on time. And our sound. Can we turn the sound on the computer off? That's the key.
I think we've got that now.
Perfect. Now, we've already gone around the table and sort of introduced each other, so we're gonna skip that part. I would like to welcome Leslie Sachin with us here though today from American Sign Language. Thank you very much for coming, Leslie. This is terrific. This is a little bit of an experiment for us. She will be signing our conversations for the benefit of those who aren't here or who have a hearing disability. So we're gonna skip a few things. We do have some pressing time issues. Let's go directly to the transit presentation, and it's not really a presentation. I'd like to welcome Nicole and Christian. Welcome.
Thank you.
There was a list of questions that were submitted to you in advance by the various committee members that Diane put together for us. And I'm wondering, did you just want to go through theirs, or were there opening comments that you wanted to make? What did you?
Sure, yeah, no, we can go through those, but I'll start by saying thank you for having transit here. We typically have a one of our parabus dispatch. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it just because we have no staff in the office today, to be honest. It's just one of those days where everybody's not, feeling well, so she wasn't able to make it. We needed coverage there, obviously. So myself and Christian will kind of go through everything and answer any questions that you have. So if it's okay with everybody, we'll just start out with the first one. So it's talking about transit on demand, which, as a lot of you know, it's Saturday and Sunday evenings. We end our conventional service, which is the regular routes, and we go to on demand. So the lights have to be booked starting at 7:15 until the end of the night. So it says here, bus on demand is not safe for pedestrians and drivers. Can this be changed? So there's a couple of things to this one. So the on-demand service started on Sunday nights and was later expanded as approved to Sundays. And I'm not sure if anybody is aware yet, but we will be undertaking a transit optimization review with a third-party consultant. That is out for RFP. We just are evaluating that now. Pending approval from council. That would be something that this can be discussed. So we'll be looking for feedback in regards to everything to do with transit, but we'll include on demand. And there'll be a lot of public, consultation sessions. We'll be working, closely with the accessibility coordinator. So that would be a piece for that. But I did have a question in regards to the comment of not safe for pedestrians and drivers. So I just wanted a little bit more information for that to see if there's anything that we can do to address that, or if there are concerns, we can definitely, make it a safer, more enjoyable experience for everybody. So we were a little bit uncertain about that.
Sure, I can expand on that a little bit. So it was explained to me, I don't use transit, but it was explained to me that for the bus on demand, that you have to call in order to be kind of scheduled for your pickup at a particular stop. And there are some people who show up at a stop, and when the bus is there and maybe is picking up one person and the other person isn't scheduled to be picked up, that they get upset. Some people get very upset about it, and some people get super very upset about it and get aggressive towards the drivers. And therefore, the passengers also feel unsafe with these very angry, agitated, other passengers. Even though they aren't able to get on the bus, they feel unsafe with that.
So how on demand works is you could have two people at one bus stop. And one person could be going east, one person could be going west, right? And so how the system works is designed to be very efficient for everybody. So that definitely happens. It happens quite often where a bus will go and then one person will get upset because they want to get on the bus, especially this winter. You know, or raining, any weather conditions. So our drivers do have a process they follow in regards to any interactions with the public, whether it be, you know, on demand, regular routes and in capacity, right? So, they do have techniques that they use, but we do, don't want anybody to engage because we want everybody's safety. Everybody's safety is paramount and the most important thing in regards to transit. They can call the inspector. If needed, they can ask the person to leave the bus. I mean, I know that's works, he does the actual training, but we do have a process in place for this to keep everybody safe. But he can explain it much more in detail.
So I think Diane, thanks for putting a little bit more clarity to it. But what we do find with on demand and what some of the changes happen, again, it's a change. So if you go outside your bus stop every day, you see the bus come at a certain time, there's different times that the buses come. It's sometimes a little bit of an adjustment period because from Monday through Friday, we saw the bus come to the stop and do the ride. And for most of Saturday and most of Sunday, but after 7:15 PM, it starts on demand. So there's a little bit of a gap there. Is it maybe more education that we might need to get that word out there to everybody? It's just when you see the same thing happening over and over, and then there's a change, there's always a little bit of a maybe an education piece, let's call it, for the public. But we don't get very many complaints about that specific scenario that you said. Because we find more and more people are understanding that after 7:15 PM on Saturday and Sunday, you do have to open us. So it's a change, it's different. I mean, for me, who started many years ago, it's on demand is a little bit different, right? So again, I would think it's a little bit more of an education piece for everybody, but it's a change.
Hi. Hi, Colin.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm with Mobilizing Justice Canada, also I'm on the community, activity advisory table. Okay. And, Bus on Demand is not working. There is one city that has pulled out. After I had met with you, I thought it was Sault Ste. Marie that pulled out. Okay, so for the last few months, I'm thinking Sault Ste. Marie is pulling out. Okay, but I think it's Peterborough that pulled out. Because it's not working.
Yeah, you're right, it was Peterborough.
So, it really needs to be eliminated from Sault Ste. Marie. It's not working. And yeah, people can see how things are going at the bus stop every day, Monday to Friday. Problem is, I can't see it. I can't see it. It's not safe. Bus on Demand is not safe. I have caught it a couple of times. I will never, ever, ever catch it again. Okay, ever. I don't go anywhere Saturday and Sundays now. And I think everybody here knows I'm out and about every single day. It doesn't matter what time, morning, night, whatever. I'm busy. Okay, I don't even know when. Those poor bus drivers are not safe. Passengers are not safe on that bus. I've had too many incidents happening the times that I did catch it. Okay, so it really needs to be discussed, and I could get into it with more detail, but I won't until he's had that, whatever it is you're gonna have. It really needs to be.
Nicole, what's the timing on this operation?
So we're doing the evaluations right now. I'm hoping to bring it to council for December 2nd. And then pending approval will be starting it. So how this study is actually gonna work is, there's gonna be quite a lot of public consultation. What I've been doing is I've been getting a lot of input recently, so including yours, and I'm gonna be providing that to everybody. so they're aware. The study, it looks like it's gonna take until about July. Because to actually do it properly, there's gonna be a lot of data that has to get evaluated. It kind of touches on some of the other questions as well. Since we did the last study, we've done a lot of technology changes. So we've got, an automatic vehicle locator system, so we've got millions of pieces of data that can be evaluated to find out, where people are getting on the bus, where they're getting off the bus, the highly used spots, the not highly used spots, and making recommended changes. And it's gonna be part of this data is gonna be included as well as public feedback. So the timing, we're hoping it's gonna begin in January. And then hopefully we'll get a recommendation for any potential changes come July. So that's the tentative. As you know, sometimes with projects, like there can be, delays or whatnot, but I don't want to have any, but I don't want to put a specific timeline on it. So I'm definitely gonna relay this. I do know that I agree there are some people who don't like it. There are some people who do like it. There are some drivers that do like this and that don't as well, right? Anytime somebody brings up safety, I always like my ears pop up because I always get very, that's my biggest thing, right? I want everybody to get them safe. Right, so if there's any specific things, I know we've talked about this in the past that happened, let us know right away. We will do whatever we can to make sure if it's education, if it's banning, whatever it is. And not just on demand. Anytime, right? We will do our best to address it because we want to make sure that it's a safe and enjoyable experience for all employees and all the public, right? So to answer your question, that's the timeline. I know that we've spoken about this before and your feelings about it, and they're definitely not lost on us. They will definitely be passed along, but I also encourage you to participate. And we'll make sure that the communication is properly distributed for everybody to participate in this because it is actually going to touch base on a couple of the points here from the questions. Because over the years, we've had a lot of feedback, right? So, and some of them are on here, and this study is going to help us make the best decisions for our community as a whole, as it pertains to transportation.
Okay. Shall we proceed to question number 2?
Sure.
I'm
Keep talking forever here.
Because I realize there are people here who have to be someplace else because this is a council day as well, sorry.
No, that's okay. So Parabus is curb to curb and it should be door to door. So I'm gonna have Christian, explain this for you.
Sure, so in my brief history of transit in the 18 years that I've been with them, door to door has always been something that's, if you go further than curb to curb, it's always been explained to us that it's outside of the scope of work. The city maintains sidewalks and we just started the side discussion, but whether it be a private driveway or a private parking lot, we can't expect that to be done as we come to these homes. Now, where maybe there's even certain parking lots that may not be cleared, but the scope of work for the operators is curb to curb. That's the way it's put out in our pamphlets. That's the way it's advertised on our website. Now, is there a debate? Does that need to change throughout the industry? I haven't seen anybody else that goes door to door, but we can also research that if need be. That being said, we do have some operators that do go above and beyond their Parabus. We don't always ask that when we train them that it is curb to curb, but customer service wise, it is awesome and it's great if they do sometimes help. And through accessibility and part of the training that they receive, you're always taught to ask, right? Would you like a push or do you want help with your extra bag? So some of that stuff is something that some of the operators do go above and beyond, but it is not in their scope of work. Does that, I hope that paints a little bit of a picture or helps out.
Okay, I've got a comment, can I?
Go ahead, sure.
Okay. Hope I got this correct. 2005 AODA. Fully accessible in 20 years, whatever, right? 20 years now. So door to door, curb to curb. I'm going to try and paint a scenario, curb to curb. So someone comes with wheelchair to the Parabus, ramp goes down, new Parabuses. The chairs can't get up the ramp. It's too hard. Okay, because the ramps aren't on the proper seat or whatever, okay? So what happens, the driver's gotta get out of the parabus, go behind the chair and push them up, right? Or the driver has to go and I haven't seen this myself, there's a crank or something that they can hook it up to the chair and pull the chair in, am I correct?
Yeah,
The winch. Okay, so if someone in a chair has a hard time getting up that ramp or into the parabus, they will assist with that.
Absolutely, so as long as they, like, I mean, when we pull up to, give you let's use Walmart, for example.
Okay,
Walmart's pretty generic, one that's not your host, but, if we, 446, Great Northern Road is what the driver sees on his sheets.
right,
He shows up at that, location with the new pair of buses that you point out. They are designed to go to what we call a high curve. So you don't want to be at the low curve. If you look at most curves,
right,
or if you could tell there's a taper, that the bus is at an optimal angle if it's at a high curve. So once the driver puts the ramp out, if the people want to put themselves on, by all means, but the drivers are trained to be out there. So they're out there and they help. If they need a hand, if they'd like to be pushed on, because don't forget, we do run into some folks that are independent in their own right, which they have every right to be, that do not want assistance. They don't want anybody to help them. So we have to try to prepare the operators for both scenarios. But yes, as long as they're there and they're ready, we help them get onto the bus, we strap them in and bring them to their destination.
that's okay, I'm really pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got someone with vision loss, thank you for explaining that. You got someone with vision loss. Can't see. Parabus pulls up. Door opens up. Blind person stand there, doesn't know it's parabus. Doesn't know how far away it is, doesn't know it's over here, doesn't know if the ramp's down, nothing. After you just explained to me how you help somebody in a chair get onto the parabus, why aren't you giving door-to-door service to someone with vision loss that can't even find the door to the parabus? Should the driver not get off the bus like he does with somebody in a chair, assist them on the parabus, like they do with the winch, or physically push them on? The driver should be going to that person with vision loss, asking them if they need a hand on that bus, grab their arm, or if they grab the driver's arm, they are guided onto that bus. That's door to door. Explain the difference.
So, to your point,
Mhm.
Carol, so I would say exactly what you're explaining is more of a communication thing. So if we know, and sometimes we don't always know what we're encountering as a driver, you see it on your sheets and you're showing up. They're gonna hopefully, see what challenges in front of them, and the operator will get out and say, excuse me, are you Carol Mangan? It's different because most of the drivers know Carol, right?
Yeah,
But in this case, if they don't, that's why, I've said to you before, but maybe say it again in an open forum that helps. The more information that we can get to our operators, the more smooth and seamless some of these interactions go. If we know that the person that they're going to, face needs a little bit of extra help or needs identifying, whether it's maybe they have their cane, or maybe they have some kind of thing that you can see when you pull up, absolutely, the operators will get out and say, do you need a hand, how do you need to get on the bus? That's how they're trained, right? Now, again, it goes back to the communication. If we know for sure that this is what they're facing, the more that we can give them prior to them showing up at that door or at Walmart, I think it makes for a better interaction, customer service wise.
okay, and that's the thing, in customer service. So let's say someone has worse vision than me, can't find that door. So when they call the parabus and they order it, or even on their file or whatever, maybe there should be something that I could, not me, okay, but somebody else would say, I'm visually impaired, I need somebody to, I'll stand at the door, but can someone come and get me and walk me to that, like at the curb, can they, or whatever, bring me onto the parabus, or is there some way that they can tell the dispatcher this, or?
So we encourage everybody to share as much information as they feel that will help us, right? Some people are very guarded in the information that they're going to give us at times, so you gotta remember that aspect of it. Carol, you're very good provided information, we appreciate that.
Mhm.
But other people are not like that. But we can definitely say to the dispatcher, again, if they were divulging all this information to us, absolutely, our dispatchers are gonna relay that to the driver. Now, is the driver gonna go into Walmart and help with all the grocery bags and do you see where, and I don't mean to take you off in the left field, but sometimes we have to think about the scenarios that the operators face.
Right.
But absolutely, they're gonna try their best to guide, to help, to get them on, as long as they're there when we come to get them. Does that make sense?
Perfect, yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Christian, is there a policy on this? Like, is there a written policy, or is this just part of the ongoing training for the drivers?
So I don't know that there's necessarily a written policy, but when it comes to the Airbus, we have our pamphlets that go up to because it is registered service.
Right.
And it's all explained in the pamphlet. And vice versa, the drivers get all the training as they want to train. Actually, we've got a new operator today, and the first thing that he receives is that Airbus pamphlet, so he sees what customer is getting for information. And go back and forth.
And there's been situations too where, for example, the operator wanted to assist an individual who was in a wheelchair and the driver wasn't up, right? And then it's hard for them as well to assist, right? Because they might not be able to get them down the driveway into the bus, right? So we don't allow our buses to pull into the driveways because backing up is dangerous and that's a safety thing, and we don't even allow that, and they don't go into the houses, you know what I mean? And that's where we also have companions who ride for free with all of our Airbus clients for that purpose as well, right? So that is something that is available to all Airbus clients as well, just sort of ready to verify.
Gary, go ahead.
This is a scenario that came to me from the paramedic because they were looking for, it was a transportation problem for a person who is significantly visually impaired. And so she applied for service. She is on a waiting list for my program, so I still cannot drive the 2 appointments. So when I did meet with her, she said she does have Parabus, she uses Parabus, but when she goes to some of her medical appointments, not the hospital, but there's one in the medical building, so when the Parabus drops her off, she can't get from the Parabus through the building to buzz up and then up the stairs to the room. And then granted back down to wait for the Parabus. So then she has March of Dimes do a lot of transportation for her. Same thing, they can't bring her up to the room. And I'm not saying that your driver should, I'm just saying there is that little gap in service where that fine line. And I see the point for visually impaired. It would be nice to have that little bit of extended service. You wouldn't need it at the hospital because once they're at the door, the volunteers are there to navigate and assist.
So that specific, sorry to interrupt, but that specific facility that you're talking about, that I'm not sure which one it is, but would somebody from their office be willing to do it? We've run into that many times also.
Yeah, and technically she should have a companion, but she doesn't. Like her husband's not well, shouldn't, like there's always those few situations where.
So each individual situation takes a little bit different of a scenario to try to go through, but like I said, the more information that our dispatchers and drivers can get, they will definitely try to help out with things. In certain cases, maybe there is a little bit of a gap there, and I don't know how it's gonna.
Yeah, like we've had some individuals from like the group health center, for example, where the drivers will bring them in and then the front desk would work them and call the office, right? So we actually, reached out to the health center about it, right? So if we know about it, we can try and, sometimes if we can just, let them know, or they can, they can call their doctor's office beforehand and say, this is the issue that I'm gonna be facing. Can somebody meet me or whatnot, right? Because, we don't allow the driver to go all the way in and bring them up to the, it's not within their scope.
Yeah.
Service, right? But yes, we have encountered that a couple times, so we've suggested the companion. We have them enter to the doctor's office in advance, because hopefully there could be somebody there who could also come and take over, right? But there's always individual situations that are a little bit tricky that require a little bit extra assistance from multiple parties.
They have done for me, I had to find a way in. The bus took me to where I was supposed to get off, and I had to tell them where I needed to get off. So he had pulled up closer to the door of where I needed to get off. And then told me, go a little ways and turn left, not right. Because I was confused, because we've gone that way. And I appreciated that, just having that little bit of, you know. Once you find the step or the door, which that's another issue, doors. But turn left, not. But you went off into the parking lot. He was very, very kind, very above and beyond.
Thank you for sharing that positive story. Thank you.
Well, on that positive note, why don't we get 15 buses and only put 5 on the road?
Well,
Notice how I'm clever.
Well, today there's 7.
Yeah, we don't actually have 15 pair buses.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, so we've got 10 pair buses, and currently unfortunately 2 of them are off the road because they're completely not visible. But we do sub in a community bus when needed, and we got those to be on order. With buses nowadays, due to labor shortages and supply problems, it always takes a lot longer for the buses to come in. But they should be here in the first half of 2025, I guess we're looking at. They've been on order for quite some time now, so it does take a while. So we do have 2 on order that are coming in, which will be at our 10 buses fully. Today we have 7 on the road. Often you can't put all of them on the road because unfortunately sometimes accidents happen that we need to pull the bus off the road. There could be a breakdown, the ramp could not be working, the windshield wiper could not be working, there could be something that we have to pull the bus off of the road for. Sometimes we need to have an extra one for if there's, special events. Sometimes Brigham games get very busy, especially if we have like a charter for Brigham games, we need to have more buses available, right? So even with our full fleet, we don't have all the buses on the road because we need to have spares and we need to account for accidents, breakdowns, safeties that have to be done to be compliant with Ministry of Transportation safety standards.
Have you ever thought of, I don't know what it's called. Share ride type thing, because I find the pair of us goes and picks one person up, then brings them home. And then 5 minutes later, for the hospital, for instance, pair of us picks somebody up, they drive away, another one comes 5 minutes later, picks somebody up, drives away, another one picks. Why don't they have one pair of us go pick up all 3 people and then go drop them off? I see that all the time.
You skipped a question on us. You went on to type. That is another one.
My mind's going faster than.
That's totally okay. So, what you're saying can definitely happen at times, but we also have it where it happens the other ways where we have a lot of people that are going on the bus. Scheduling wise, that is, again, I need to keep referring to this optimization review. But this is something that will be looked at because, years ago, we had, the software that we have is better than it was, right? And the girls can still try their best to move things around or add calls where they can. But sometimes we're at the mercy of what other people will allow us to do. So give you an example, we have a lady going from the west end to downtown. Now maybe there's another lady that wants to come in, maybe in the same neighborhood, but she doesn't want to go at a different time. Well, that time doesn't work for her. So now you're trying to manipulate the schedule a little bit more. There is better software out there that hopefully we can look at in the future that will help the girls do some of this mix mashing and moving around and using maps and Google and all that stuff, because sometimes they're at the mercy of trying to make some of these things go. And you don't always have the flexibility of the public that you're dealing with. And sometimes we are getting 2 or 3 people on the pair of buses. Other times it is a single ride trip because that's the only person going from that location to the downtown core. And also, when you look at it, sometimes they're trying to get as many rides as they can in a day. And if you can get 2 or 3 people from the west end to downtown, well then let's make those 3 quick trips and get 3 more people on. So it's not exactly a terrific science, but they try their best to put as many calls on in a day. And we are, if you look at it, hours wise, we're definitely exceeding hours on a daily basis. But there has always been a demand. As long as I've been part of this committee, are been a resource to the committee, there is always a demand for more. And that's something that may come out of the study that we're about to do.
Since we're on this topic, I'm just gonna interrupt for 1 minute here, but like Carol, there, do we have? Like when's the Parabus coming back? Like what's our dead
4:15.
stop?
4:15.
4:15, so we should be till 4? Okay. Fine, perfect, that's good.
So I don't know, just in order to stay into, does anybody want to go back to number 4 or is?
Repeat number 4 again.
Right. Question from-
Before we go back to number 4, Derek has a question.
I have a comment, actually. The reason why, in the hospital, you see, people may go one at a time is because if the doctor office or clinic is busy, they say call us when you're done from your appointment. So in return, they book you for a pickup, but they don't for a return.
Yeah, so
So that opens, that's why, you see a lot of the buses go one person at a time. Is because not, three people might not be ready to go at the same time.
So exactly to Derek's point, what he's talking about is if there's 2 or 3 doctor's appointments going on at once, one doctor might be ahead, one doctor might be behind in the afternoons. We run into that more typically as where, again, but the quicker that we can send a bus and get that person home, the quicker that that bus becomes empty. So it's a 2-sided of that scenario, right? The quicker that we can get that bus empty, the quicker that it's available to us again for another call.
Christian, I don't wanna disagree with you, but I'm familiar with the number of doctors, and in the afternoon, they're all behind on their.
Yes. It's like a big Tetris piece to put everything together, so the software program has an algorithm that will try and help make it as efficient. But then sometimes you have to override it with the Parabus dispatch based on where people are going, what time they need to get picked up at, if they're flexible for the time that they can get picked up at or dropped off at. And then be mindful of not trying to have people on the bus for too long, so it's a constant moving, pieces to try and accommodate, but like Christian said, again, we do know there's better software out there now, right? So that would be something that's gonna be a preliminary review as part of this.
I just want to comment, because a couple weeks ago, I was at a meeting, site plan meeting, and, Parabus. And it's my own fault, it's my own fault. The Parabus was booked and it was leaving at 12, I thought it was 12:15. So the Parabus came, picked up somebody, and then they left. Okay, and, do you mind if I?
Go for it.
Okay, so anyway, was at an AAC meeting, site plan, a couple weeks ago. Parabus picks us up at 12, I thought it was 12:15, so I stayed inside, talked to Diane for a few minutes. Derek went outside, got on the Parabus. And then the Parabus starts driving away, and Diane gets a call on her phone saying, and it was Derek saying the Parabus is leaving without Carol.
Oh, so, I don't know, was
So-
it for sure that you guys were booked on the same bus that day?
Yeah,
Yes, it was our error of the return time. So Carol thought she still had some time, but she didn't. And so the bus left. And honestly, transit was great to send another bus over to pick her up.
and that was the thing, okay, so transit they got somebody right away, like Derek's Parabus just kept going, wouldn't stop, wouldn't wait for me, it left. Transit sent another Parabus 2 minutes later, picked me up. They picked me up, I think it was Diane. And, she's like, what? She went and picked up somebody else on the way to drive me home. I didn't find a problem with that at all, not at all. And, I figured, well, geez, that worked out really well.
Yeah, it does happen, you try and make it efficient as possible, right? So.
So,
Instead of them going one at a time, if they could get 2 people on a time, it saves more people, like I did not mind that at all.
absolutely, so just to speak to that, so I don't know if it helps to paint the picture of how it is for the operator. So if the operator's sitting in the bus, And he has his call sheet, and, say Carol is on it, and Derek is on it, and whoever else might be on it. The way that they're trained is once that person is not there, they call the office, they call dispatch and say, here to pick up Carol Hagan, it's now 12:05, and we don't know where Carol is.
So
So,
you knew where it was.
but if you're not there, right, so the no show, and there again, remember I just spoke about trying to get that bus going and having the call over with. If they sat and waited for everybody or multiple numbers of people, that puts us behind tremendously. That's why we always, that's another part of the education piece that we put out to everybody. Always try to be 10 minutes early for your call. So if your pickup is for 12 o'clock, be ready for 11:50. But again, we're glad it worked out in this scenario to where they were able to send you on the bus. But that's what we need to do to keep the system moving on a live basis. And I see what you're saying. It's great that they were able to put a couple rides together, but that's where the system comes in. So they turned around and started making it changes to other schedules and changing other things around. So that's where some of the delays come in. We're dealing with people and appointments all day long, so there's a flexibility in our schedule needed at different times throughout the day.
Okay, the other scenario on that, okay, so. 12 o'clock, okay, could be there 10 minutes earlier, right? But again, I got this bill, there are honest drivers, some other people, you know, I mean, I can find my way or whatever, right? No, but. You're gonna give me 5 minutes leeway, the other people.
So they do. So that's what, so say your pickups are 12 o'clock. They don't leave the location until 12:05. Or 11 and 11:05. They have to call in the no show on the radio before they leave the scene.
Okay, and I don't know the exact time, but it was just a matter of minutes. Yeah, okay. But it was my fault, it was my fault that.
No,
For the driver, I think there was fault on our side too, so I didn't fault
Mhm.
for that, right?
And I think that's where customer service is important, right? Okay,
And we need to hear about that stuff because we
Yeah.
know that, you know,
Yeah.
everybody makes mistakes too, right? And
Yeah.
We have to address things, so yeah. It's very best to communicate with us, we have to deal with stuff right away because, you know.
Let's move us up to question number 4 here, which is, why doesn't the community bus run on weekends? Weekends are when events happen.
You want to take this or do you take this? So the community bus changed, in some of the areas that, serviced back in 2018 when they did this last study, right?
In
So,
when? I'm sorry, 2018?
2018 is when they changed it to what the community bus currently is now. The stop that it does now. And so at that time, it's servicing where the demand was, right? And again, we've noticed that there is different demand. We do know that, for example, certain areas do have a very high demand for the community bus, right? There's a lot of vintage restaurant, like we talked about based on this, it does have a very high demand. We haven't seen a demand to add a bus yet, because it has to be very significant, right? So this will be again, like I feel like we're a broken record here, but this will be another route, like all of them, that is gonna be taken a look at in regards to every stop and demand of each stop. Right,
How would you know if there is a demand when you're not there, like? Most of us are trained, well, weekends we don't bother, so yeah, that's an event, no, another one we won't go to. How do you know that I would use that and my friends? How would you know what numbers?
so that would be part of the public consultation. We need to hear it from you and your friends. That's why we want as much public consultation as we can get as well, right? In regards to that.
And I think what they're saying is back in 2018, they surveyed and there wasn't a demand, and that's why it was dropped, but things have changed in the last 6 or 7 years. Hence, they're gonna do it again.
That's why we're doing
So
this.
this is an opportunity to say, yeah, there's a demand for community bus on the weekend. And they're gonna evaluate, right? Is that fair?
So would you be willing, and I mean, it's not just the finished rest home, there's a whole area there. We can't get downtown on the weekends, period.
Where,
We can't get North Street, it goes a different route on the weekends. So all the events, we miss everything, the Christmas tree festival, the craft shows that are on, community nights, everything.
I don't need to interrupt. Where's you're coming from?
the finished restroom,
So you go from the British restaurant and you wanna go to the downtown location.
exactly.
So you still, at that location, you still have always the skip and second line bus services that area, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
visual,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm listening to, and I should maybe recheck that, and I tried to find out. You have to go around the down over an hour to get downtown, an hour to get back.
So you have a couple of different options. Number one, there is the steel and second line bus that services Fort Creek, or I shouldn't say the Fort Creek, but across from you, it would be on the outbound is what we call it.
Okay,
Right, so you now have the two shelters across by Superior Heights. So that would be the steel and second line outbound. From that location, it leaves, goes up into Niagara subdivision or
That's
Mary
what I've heard.
subdivision, Sackville, up into the
Right.
hub.
right,
From the hub over to Walmart, over to the hospital,
yeah,
and then back through the west end to the terminal. But you could also catch it on the inbound, which it would be near, closer to the Fort Creek area on second line.
mhm.
And that, you would be catching it on the inbound, and you'd be looking at about a 45-minute ride back to the bus terminal.
Okay, so either or, it's an hour.
Yes, or,
And there and an hour back. It's not,
45 minutes.
when you're 80, I mean, well, I mean, what the hell, we're not doing anything anyway, so.
Well, but
That's right.
there also is the North Street option for you. So the North Street is a half hour, but the closest bus stop to you folks is the Habitat. Inn. So, you already, yeah, so the bus stop
Yeah.
for the Habitat
Right,
would also get you the half hour North Street bus. So, this is maybe another, education piece or component that we talk about, because there's nowhere that the community bus services that the regular service doesn't take over for. Right, and we understand that the community bus is a Cadillac service, it's a great service, we love it, trust me, and maybe
Yeah.
out of this review there. will be more. But there are options, and I hear what you're saying, every option permit is a different little obstacle. But there is an alternative out there, right? That
exactly,
helps.
wheelchairs, walkers, sight, crossing those roads. That, like, it's,
I hear every.
and again, like I say, we are left out of a lot of events. Because of that, and. Anyway, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
No, as you're speaking, I can hear the frustration. The other thing that I know of from the Finn home, because I've dealt with them a lot over the years, and Jeremy and Heidi and some of the staff.
Yes.
They also have their own bus.
No, we don't anymore,
It no longer,
no drivers,
oh, but is the bus still?
the
physically-
bus is there,
Okay.
no drivers.
Really?
So, yeah, apparently they used to have, a shopping trip, or
Yeah,
if there was a special craft show that everybody wanted to go to.
okay.
We have a lot of Walmart walkers.
Yeah.
They would love to go to the malls and walk on the weekends as well as during the week. No such thing. And again, it's dangerous crossing those roads with walkers, snowbanks. Like, there's days it's perfect, but for the most part, not.
So again, another alternative, and we didn't keep providing information, but I'm just trying to make things work. Are any of those ladies registered on Parabus?
No, but one is, but
So,
not the rest of them.
so for the ones that are, Parabus would be another option,
Oh,
right?
yeah, they will use it. So they go, I don't go, like it's,
Yeah,
it's, I don't know. You say, I know everything is sort of,
no,
So we've agreed that it's not perfect,
it's,
Right.
but hopefully we can make some small modifications and improvements.
and I'm not saying it just for there, there's a whole area there that
Oh,
must
no.
use that bus. It's not just.
Yeah, but
Just like, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, our little pod and I mean, when I go for walks, there's all kinds of apartments and other buildings and whatnot. And also, I shouldn't say it out loud in a way, there's a lot of very elderly people, they call myself included in that, but
Hey,
I'm
we
not
have our
that,
elderly
I'm not
people.
that old yet. They're driving yet, and they shouldn't be driving, and the reason they're driving and not giving up their license is because that definitely, because they're active and they go to these craft shows and look at, the parades and fireworks and everything else.
That's a really good
And
point.
I'm not getting on that, but on their, in their cars, I mean, I'm offered rides, but I'm scared to death. I'd
That's
rather
a,
take a
that's a
bus.
valid.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
Other than the alternative, like if we try to plan each trip or help you plan different trips.
Yeah.
There are some options and I hate that there's obstacles for those options,
Mhm.
but in our current, situation, it is what we have, so. But part of coming to these meetings and having these discussions, there's definitely part of, what's gonna help us. with this.
And would you come to the Finnish rest home if there were enough people and explain to them
Sure, yeah,
the whys and why nots, et cetera?
yeah,
I
absolutely.
love travel training.
So that's part of the job description.
And let
that-
them know, like, let them tell you, don't, I mean, I'm still, I do a lot of hearsay.
Yeah.
I haven't been there long enough, so.
Well, yeah, we would have, so like I said, I've done
The
this
source.
with Heidi and Jeremy in the past, and if they wanna reach out, or if you folks wanna reach out to them
Right.
and have us come up there, we do something called travel training, where we go to different locations and try to do question and answers. Do a little presentation, people don't always like our messages, but we try our best to get out there and communicate.
Well, at least then it puts like, okay, they know a reason why not,
Sure, yeah,
and, yeah.
I think the other half of that though is, like particularly with Finnish Rest Home, and I'm sure there's other similar developments in town, making people aware of how they can participate in your operations review, because obviously they know what the issues are from their side. And anything that could be done to improve that would be great.
Like, and sort of on the same topic, okay, one bus, there's a couple buses I got on. People have to get off for the other people to, or they have to get off so this person can get off and then they get on.
are you referring to the community bus?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I thought it was community.
Yeah,
bus.
no, I just wanna make
Okay.
sure we're talking about the same bus.
Oh, yeah, well, not the same.
Sorry.
No, that's good, but, anyway, so that's a bit, that is problematic. The other, but again, there's no solution to this problem, but I will report it. Many times I go down to the laundry, whatever, and there's a stack of people waiting for the bus, in the winter especially. Other people come down and they go, oh, I guess I'll catch the next bus. There is an overflow. Many times. So just to let you know, these buses are used and people do need it. And I mean, they're quite willing, and they're just, it's part of it, and it's not a problem you can solve, like, have two buses, but just to let you know that it's really a valuable service right there.
We appreciate the feedback, and what I believe that you're describing there is what we run into with mobility devices, so on the
Yeah.
community bus, if we have, it's got two wheelchair locations on it, but if we have two wheelchairs and we have two or three, individuals with walkers.
Yeah.
Now that bus is.
The big walkers, no less.
Exactly, yeah, so.
I know.
We know it's a challenge.
Yeah.
We typically, we have right now two different floor designs with the models that are on the road. And we believe that the better floor design is the other, two of the community buses. We refer to them as the Fords.
Right.
Ford buses seem to have a little bit more,
Well, the one with the step, like nothing like having a walker and a load of groceries, and you're trying to get up over that. This deep, like this wide of an aisle.
so therein is just a plus and minus to two different vehicles in the fleet.
Yeah.
We have bus number 177 and 178 that are very similar in design, exactly what you're talking about. They are wider, but they do have a little bit of a step up to get to the back.
Right. A
One-
little bit, it's a big step that people.
Sorry if we're
First I know it is only this high, but.
the other bus in comparison is bus 183, and that bus has more perimeter seating, but it is one straight floor. So
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
can see where the pluses and minuses to two different floor designs. But that's not always available to, as a RFP goes out, or this is more Nicole's side of things, but as we get different buses, different years, we don't always have those same options available to us. We know what we think works best for community buses, because we've outlined exactly what you've said before. And we've had to modify some of the buses, just so you know, we've had to put lifting seats on so that we've had more room. And over the years, we've had many, I wish I went back and looked at it, different scenarios to where we've gotten to where we are today with the community bus. But there's always room for improvement, and that's why we come and listen to these folks.
I do have a message from my group, not that big. Your bus drivers are above and beyond great. They are top of the line,
Well,
at 99%.
I appreciate you and your group bringing that forward, because we don't get enough compliments,
Wow.
but they are very.
They are, they, nothing but good about every one of them, really, like, well, there's one, but I don't know. But just for that one.
Well, that's the.
But the rest of them are absolutely top of the line. Well, I can't say about the one because I haven't experienced it, so it's hearsay. But the rest and just listening to them and, oh, this bus driver did this for me and that one did that for me and part of the group and very social, very good.
Well, we
Could
appreciate
I,
it.
say something about one of your community buses? I think it's 177.
Of course.
The call system's out of whack.
Oh, really?
So I was on it the other day and we're going down second line and it's rhyming off. What was it, Ryan? It was writing something off. I can't remember where it was. It was way off balance, way off balance. So and I don't know why I did that.
So, just for clarity, what route were you on, Carol, do you remember?
You know, and I'm trying to think, I think it might have been around the summit. And we're heading down towards Finished Rest Home. We pick up there from Walmart.
But was it the community bus?
It was a community bus. Yeah,
Okay.
and it was bus 177, and it was weird, and then I started thinking, well, you know what, I think what do you call it, the satellites, however they run,
Yeah,
it's pulling information from the street over and bringing it through or something like that, because it wasn't rhyming off, it wasn't saying the next stop, oh, that's what it was, next stop, it wasn't saying next stop is Finished Rest Home, it was saying next stop was Knights of Columbus or something like that.
oh, somebody was ahead.
It was ahead or something.
We could look into it. For sure. So we appreciate you bringing that forward, but, all the, it's the same system in all the buses, it's just a matter of what the operator puts in.
Right,
So in this case, maybe it's possible that it was programmed for a different route, I don't know, but I have to look into it for sure.
yeah, it was 177,
Yeah,
yeah.
Can I give another suggestion, sorry, quick one? Yesterday we tried calling transit to see if the buses were running in the community bus. We don't know if they did or wasn't, because nobody would answer the phone. Even if they'd have put an answering machine on saying, we're out for the day. Anyway,
so,
and she called the city as well, and same thing, no answer, we gathered, okay, they're out. But even if they'd have put a message saying we're closed for the day, it would have just sort of like, okay, they're closed, we're good for
yeah,
whatever.
so
whatever.
typically we, number one, we do post on the bus itself, we put a little, blurb on the bus.
What?
On a little, we usually.
You notice that, you know what?
Yes, so there's usually a note put on the bus. But in this case, I don't know why, because the way our phone system works, as soon as you call the general line, it goes to the answering service if there's nobody.
Yeah, no answering service yesterday.
Yeah, it gives like the general information, you have to press the prompt, and one of them goes to the inspector, and then the other one goes to the automatic, to our answering service. So the
Yeah.
person answers, and they can answer your questions or send you.
She said nothing, and then so she called City Hall. Why that, but anyway, they said whatever, and she said that rang and rang. And rang and rang and rang, till finally somebody just hung up, so she felt security must have gone and hung it up.
No, ours, ours goes to the call center. 24/7.
So it should have been-
Yeah.
So I'll
should have
check
been
into that.
answered.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, cause if you hit the prompt for general information, that usually goes to our
She
front
might have,
desk.
maybe she got the
It
wrong
bumps
number
right
then.
to the automatically goes to our call center or you have the live.
Mind you, she calls all the time, so she should know the number, but still. She did a wrong number.
I think there is one other question left for transit here. Which is, can you explain the 2-week booking window? I take it this is for Parabus?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this has been in place for as long as I can remember. I believe it originated from the.
Nicole, can I just help you for one?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure what the problem with the 2-week is.
Oh,
Is it too short, too long?
Too long.
Well, if somebody forgets to book the 2 weeks, or on the phone trying to get a bus the same day. Yeah.
So you need to book it 2 weeks in advance is basically what it is?
Yes.
Okay, and
But I
Well,
think if
people are
Nicole,
misunderstanding that though.
yeah, if Nicole explains what that 2-week booking
Yeah.
window means, I think that'll answer some of the questions
Okay.
that have been asked.
okay,
so for example, if somebody needed a ride, a Paris ride I'm not sure the date right now, let's say December 1st. They can't book today because there's more than a 2-week span, right? So they can book 2 weeks prior to the date of travel that they're requesting. So that's how that works. So, when you're at the 2-week mark, you call that morning and you may have to wait a little bit because, every morning especially is quite busy, but you can just hold on the line and then you'll get one of our Paramount dispatch and they're able to at that point, book you a ride. So you can't book before that, but you can continue to book, right? It's just the closer you get to the date, it's harder to get in time, right? So, and we do have some unaccommodated rides, but a lot of them are calling, Wednesday at 3 p.m. to get a ride somewhere, and that's like one of our most prime time hours. So we'll try and always work with the individual, say, okay, can we give a half hour earlier or half hour later, or, you know what I mean? And try to work with everybody, and we often find that people, if they want to get somewhere, they do need a little bit of flexibility, especially if it's last minute. So you can't book earlier, but you can book at the 2-week mark, and then you can continue to try up until the date up. We can't guarantee anything, and we would require flexibility, but that's how that works, and I know it's been in place for.
is that standard practice, with other transit services?
I do know that quite a few of them don't just allow booking like years in advance or months in advance, because you don't wanna fill it all up, right? You still need to get.
And people's plans change.
for people.
Sure.
Yeah, people's plans change 100%, right? And then some people if they book too early, they could also forget to cancel and then we're declining somebody else. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
there's offsets to both sides, right?
I just want to comment on that too, and I'm glad you made that clear. A lot of people don't get it, understand that part, okay? So I can't book 2 weeks wait before my appointment. But I can call a week before my appointment and maybe I hope I'm gonna get that spot. But I mean, somebody might have already booked that spot. I can call the day before and if that spot's open, I can take that.
Sure.
And we
Okay.
encourage people to call.
But you're better off trying at the 2-week mark so that that spot is empty. The sooner you get to your appointment, chances are that spot's gonna be booked. But in some cities, it is the 2-week thing, a lot of them is. Some of them it's 1 week. And there is a place, top of my head, I can't think of what place it is right now, I just heard about this. They're trying to do it like an Uber. Not like you're paying like an Uber, okay? But you know how you call an Uber or whatever, Okay, it's kind of like they'll go get you when you call. And I don't know how successful that's gonna be.
So I do know that there's a couple transit agencies, mostly in the States, who do have that for their specialized service, and it's more like an on-demand, right? So it works exactly, which is what Uber is, right? So it's an algorithm in the back that'll go to a driver's tablet to kind of pick up and drop off in an efficient way.
I am curious, but, so, and I want to give Karen and Carol an opportunity.
We can do it next time.
You sure?
Yeah,
Because
we've already discussed it.
Okay, because we're
Yeah.
closing in on 4 o'clock here, and
Yeah.
4 o'clock is like a dead stop for us here. How many buses, like you said today, there's 7 pair of buses on the road, how many would you normally have out there?
For all of the buses or just the pair buses?
Just a pair of buses,
Approximately that number,
normally 7?
7, 8, depending on the volume of work. And what they have there, it could be,
And the impression I'm getting is they're busy.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like there's, I know there's always been complaints of buses sitting in different areas, but sometimes they're waiting for the next call. Whether they're ahead of schedule, whether there's people that didn't show up for a call.
There's a change in schedule.
There's-
Could be a lunch break also.
It's a very flexible schedule that, is changed around all the time.
And we also have a third party who helps with the overflow. Third party contractor, we have that'll help with the overflow to do pickups and a lot of the dialysis patients going on too, right? And they'll help with, you know, whether there's holidays or whatnot, so we make sure we'll assist with all of that, just for that extra little bit of assistance.
And,
for our
and
clients.
you got this one bus that they use?
They've got one accessible bus and they've got a van, I believe, I'm not sure if it's on the road all the time. And then they often use their cabs, they can, for, you know, patients
Depending
who are
on-
on dialysis, they can, you know, do that and transport in their cab.
Other questions for transit?
I just got one,
Go ahead.
for a person that can't read, I can't read or write. So what happens for me is I would like to book the 2 week window. But I can't because I can't read it. So I know I'm gonna be somewhere on the 14th. But because of the no 2 week window, cause I can't read. That's the issue for me.
So Derek, how do you typically make your bookings now?
I try to do it in a period, but there's been like 5 times. That I've tried to get the same day, and I can't get the same day.
So number one, at least you're calling and trying to make the same day, right? So
Yeah, or a week,
that's number one, always continuously try, but as far as, to help you to, are you saying that you're having issues maybe like remembering some of the pickup times or?
like, I gotta remember that I gotta book 2 weeks in advance.
And you have a hard time looking at your calendar. And
Yeah.
saying you have to go out on December 1st, so 2 weeks before that is whatever date that is.
Yeah. So see, what happens is. They say, doctors say, okay, can you come in on this date? If I don't call right away and get it to the dispatcher, I forget.
Right.
And I get frustrated.
Yeah. Well, I hear your frustration, and again, the only thing I keep going back to, and I'm always about trying to provide options. I know you're still at 277,
Yeah,
so in that case, where something like that happens. It may or may not be a good option to you, but you do have the option of the North Street bus that runs, even though it's across the street from your building.
okay,
Right, so the North Street bus, which is running every half hour, Monday through Friday. On weekends, it's a little bit different of a schedule. It actually, on our B service, it would pick you up on your side of the road.
yeah,
So the North Street would get you down to the terminal, depending on where you needed to go through from there. The North Street is a nice half-hour connected route that might help. So again, it's just about providing options, right? And I hope that helps in the short term. It's not what you may or may not want. You also during the week have community bus that could possibly come in there on request.
My chair's too big.
Your chair.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Really?
it's too big.
Yeah,
Wow,
that was the problem with the ramps.
gotcha.
So that's why, like, even on the 14th, I gotta be somewhere,
Yeah,
and I forgot.
where is that appointment that you have to be at on the 14th?
Hospital,
At the hospital. So, just out of curiosity, and depending on weather, do you know where the Sioux College hub is?
yeah,
Would you want to wheel up to that location? Would that be something that work for you?
that would work.
So if you wheeled up to that location, from there, you can either get on the Skilton second line outbound, or you can get on the Great Northern Road. That both go to the hospital or to the RM.
Okay,
And your appointment is the 14th of this week,
yeah,
and did you try calling back again?
not for that one, but
I would
Try
also
calling
try
back.
to call
Yeah,
back.
try to
Yeah.
call back, sure.
Yeah, maybe there could be a shared ride with them.
There could be 13
Could be
changes
multiple,
between
yeah.
now and then.
Yeah.
Right?
no, it's always that, I know that I got a book,
Gotcha.
but it's like, oh my god, I didn't book. So the day of my appointment, I'm calling and canceling my appointment without.
Well, we don't want to hear that and trying to provide you options is the best thing that we could do for you there. But number one, I would try to call like the 13th and the 14th. And if for some reason neither one of those options worked, you can either wheel up to Sioux College or catch the North Street bus,
Okay,
if that helps you.
Definitely call Parabus first before you cancel anything.
okay,
Yeah, always.
The hospital is hard though, because they change appointment times last minute, or they add appointments within 2 days of notice or 3 days notice sometimes, depending on what kind of treatment or what you're there for, and so that's where it's tricky.
So we actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
so we actually track ones that we can accommodate, right? So, and it's, yeah, so we track it to see where our deficiencies are, and we find that most of them are, they don't wanna be a little bit flexible in regards to the pickup and the drop off, even if it's a half an
Patient or
hour.
the hospital, the patient.
Yeah, the patient. Or, it is really during like a high demand where we've got, the buses on the road and it's trying to get everybody where they can go.
Yeah.
So it is usually during that time and that's the reason for them. If there's something, like significant, well, we will literally do it. Right?
Well, the
So-
cancer clinic in particular, they give the treatment for the following week at the end of the week. So it's on their end too, it's not a perfect situation for anyone. They don't tell you next week when your appointments are gonna be, they're not the same time each day. And so you have less than a week to try to book that or a week, so it becomes tricky. It's not that it's your fault, and I guess it's not the hospital's fault either, but it's a huge barrier for
It's too
For a lot of
scheduling
people.
programs trying to link.
Wow, yeah. There's no perfect.
They only do that for the following week on a Friday, so you've got it late even Friday. Weekend, everything's closed, so then you've got Monday right through Friday where, like she said, various times, not even consistent.
Do we have one bus for the hospital? Is a Parabus rotating all day long? In a perfect world.
Yeah.
We need to cut off the pair bus because of the bus
Yeah.
chat because Nicole has to be at council very shortly.
And a couple of things, first of all, thank you very much, Nicole and Christian.
Yeah, anytime.
Very helpful to everybody. And we look forward to participating in your operation
Yeah.
study review, that'd be great. I also want to thank Leslie for coming today, this was great. Hopefully next time, our IT problems will be a little easier to resolve. And the other, I'm gonna give Diane last word here, but the other thing to remember is you may have seen some material from the city saying, did you want to apply for a board committee?
Yes.
And we're all here for 4 years, people. We were all appointed for 4 years. I know, it's tough, but we're all here for 4 years, okay? And only 2 of that 4 years is that we were appointed for the term of council. So you do not need to reapply in order to stay on this committee for the next 2 years.
okay.
And Diane, was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No.
Other than.
Other than honestly, the challenges that we ran into today, and Nicole, you're welcome to go out, you don't have to wait to hear this. But I think the challenges that we had today will continue. The Wi-Fi here is very poor. Right now, we're using my cellular data, my personal, which is not a problem. I've got a very good plan. But if the Wi-Fi is consistently poor here, this isn't the right space for us.
Totally agree.
Plus, if the bathrooms are locked, and you'll be here.
Yes.
So. Derek, for the interpreter, can you repeat that? I missed that.
Okay. There's a accessible washroom,
So, yeah. That's.
okay, and if it's locked. And nobody's around to help us unlock it. And we're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I guess my last comment is that I think we're back to the accessibility center. We will, work on sound. I'll see if I can get some things in place for next month. Some softening for the office. And thank you very much, Karen and Carol, Karen, we'll see you again next month, and we really look forward to your presentation then. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. In that case, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it.
Thank you.